I've always loved nature and wildlife. They're part of my DNA. I'm obsessed with National Geographic, the Discovery Channel, and was an avid fan and friend of Marlin Perkins from TV's Wild Kingdom and the late Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. Through the decades, our homes have been a menagerie of virtually every kind of animal: horses, dogs, and cats, hamsters and guinea pigs, bunnies, chickens, parakeets, and turtles, lightning and streak. Our Malamute, Chemo, ruined our beautiful flower garden and was furloughed to a sheep ranch in Wyoming. The hamsters escaped into the heating ducts in the floor. We heard the pitter-patter of little feet for weeks until a cold spell finally forced us to raise the thermostat. We still prefer to believe that they escaped into the yard before the furnace came on. And of course the cat dined on the parakeets, and the bunnies multiplied so fast that the pet store refused our offers to replenish their supply. And as happens to most small turtles, they were discovered upside down at the bottom of the grotto. As much as I was fond of our domesticated troops, who were treated as members of the family, my deepest inner stirrings have always revolved around nature as it was created. Those many years ago, my kids asked me a simple but direct question. Dad, we know how much you love wildlife, and you know how much we love wildlife. Will you ever take us on a safari to Africa so we can enjoy the animals in their natural habitat? We don't like the zoo, Dad. The animals there are like paranoid POWs with no possibility of parole. Will you take us to Africa, please, Dad? I promise I will, I answered them with a hug, and I went about my routine of earning our bread, watching TV, and going to bed. Sunrise, sunset, year after year. Before I knew it, I was in my 60th year. Someday I must take them to Africa, I mused, and another year passed unnoticed as I promptly put the idea on layaway, reverting to the routine of coming and going, hurrying and scurrying, so ingrained in our society's lifestyle. But be careful what you promise your children when they're young. They never forget a promise, no matter how old they are or how old you become. You are their parents all of your lives, not simply while your offspring are under your roof. It was almost 30 years to the day that I finally fulfilled my promise of taking my kids to Africa as a special birthday present for my daughter Dana, who, like her two brothers and older sister, had grown and flown from the nest with children of her own. What I could not possibly have foreseen at the time was that this particular event would profoundly and completely alter my thinking and priorities for the remainder of my life. This would not just be another wonderful holiday excursion with lots of videos and photos to share with family and friends. This would be a once-in-a-lifetime journey to the very core of my own belief system. So deeply emotional has been the impact on who I am and what I believe that it has become an annual spiritual pilgrimage that I hope to continue as long as I can travel, walk, look, listen, and feel. It seems rather odd that a man who's devoted most of his life writing about, lecturing, and counseling others about success and fulfillment in the biggest cities, largest convention halls, crowded stadiums, and arenas throughout the industrialized world should find himself gaining his most meaningful insights about the enlightened life in a tent and on the savannah in the Kenya highlands of East Africa. Perhaps by being still and listening to my own heartbeat, as the only human sound emanating from the vastness of the Mara, I was able to hear the music and lyrics of my own soul, that inner center that each of us visits so rarely, if at all, in the hurried gridlock of our daily existence. I sing this inner song for you, the listener, with the sincere desire that when you hear my last words on the final recording, you'll smile, touch a loved one, slow the pace of your own journey down a bit, and feel more connected not only to the past and future, but to those priceless, simple treasures in the moment that have no purchase price.